Hey world, how are you? So I know you could barely see me, and that's okay. I have some episodes where you can't see me at all. Um, so welcome to the SupaTea Podcast Show. And what's on my spirit right now is to have a real heart to heart, um, just have a real heart to hearts, I should say, since this is a public broadcast. And perhaps it will inspire, perhaps it will give insight, um, perhaps it will motivate my subscribers and whoever sees this to dive deeper into themselves. So there's a lot of mysterious things to me. And even though mystery sometimes is intriguing to folks, at other times it's uncomfortable. At other times it's misinterpreted based on a person's own personal limited perception. So I figured, nah, let me come on here and be even more open than I have been. So, where do I start? So, hmm, I want to start with my intimate relationships without getting into my past lovers' business, so to speak, mainly focusing on me. And before I even get into those things, I want to start with making a very bold statement about myself. Um, I do have many gifts, which is very evident. I mean that's not a mystery. I have this amazing voice, talent. Um, I'm very spiritual. Um, I'm also very creative. I paint. I love to write. I love to read. And I just love to express myself in creative ways. I wouldn't say I just discovered how well me and theater align because theater gives me the opportunity to actually utilize a bunch of my creative skills. But theater is definitely something that also I'm gifted in. So I've always been acknowledged as being gifted from a very young age academically. In New York, they have, I believe I mentioned this before, but in New York City, they have different classifications within a grade. Like they don't put everybody in the grade on the same learning level. And I was always in the top classes, which they call T and G classes, which the T means talented and the G means gifted. So I was always in talented and gifted classes right until um, before high school, right? All of elementary school, I was in talented and gifted. All of junior high, I went to actually a specialized junior high school that also went into high school. But my family dynamics wasn't so amazing and great, which I've mentioned here. So that takes a major role in the development of a child and with the support of continuing academically. So, like the fact that I'm even back in academia is attestation of me, because nobody pushed me to do this. I actually had to push myself to do this after, you know, having to take the responsibility of becoming a mom and being a mom from the age of 15, you know, to push myself. And I pushed myself. And even after all those years of being out of academia, still, after my first semester, I was invited into the honor roll. So that in of itself, when I make mention of the Mensa Society, even though I might be laughing when I say it, I'm very serious about it. I'm very serious about it. And a lot of people like, what is that? Some people don't even know what that is. They're like, Mensa Society. What is she even talking about? Is she talking about menstruation? Is this a society for just women? talking about their periods. No, it's not. Mensa is a society for people with high IQs. And when a person that doesn't have a high IQ is interacting with a person with a high IQ, they don't understand um, the high IQ person that's behaviors necessarily, because the person with the high IQ may not be um, behaving in a chameleon type of way. They may not be trying to fit in. They may, especially a confident person with a high IQ, why would they be trying to fit in? So hopefully that gives a little bit more insight to my character and my characteristics. Now, not going too deep into the family dynamic, because I'm pretty sure I have touched on those things before. Um, let's get into like really young adulthood, where I'm already a parent. I'm working. I had to put my academic studies to the side because I needed to figure out how to exist in this society without having parental or family support, and that in of itself was a task. And also without compromising my personal integrity as a woman and not allowing my body to be utilized as a way to survive. So, all of those factors were part of my young adulthood. And what I opted to do was to jump the broom at a very, very early age. I think I was like 19, turning 20. Was I 20, turning 21? When did I jump the broom? I jumped the broom in 2001, 1999, 2001. No, 2004. 2004? Yeah, I jumped the broom. 2004, April 2004. I jumped the broom, so to speak. I went into a marital contract. Um, did I love the person? My ex-husband. Um, I love the idea of having a family. If I'm gonna be all accurate and true, um, my ex-husband was 24 years older than me. When we initially met, I was in Buffalo. He's from Buffalo, and I was working as a home health aide. I had my own little apartment. I thought I was grown. I had a stable apartment. I was exactly, ironically, in a very similar situation as I am right now, where I didn't have to worry about my rent because that was stable. I had enough space, more than enough space. I had I should say I had the perfect amount of space because at that time I was renting a three-bedroom apartment, 90 North Parade. I will never forget that address. 90 North Parade was where I resided at. It was right across the street from a beautiful big park. And yeah, that was my life, and I believe I was 19 at the time when I met him. And so I had my one son, you know. I had a good friend who lived not too far from me on Utica Avenue. At that point in time, I was a concierge of marijuana. And that is how, ironically, I met my ex-husband. Um, I was going to purchase me some marijuanas, and when I went to purchase me some marijuanas, he is the individual that I interacted with, and he just seemed to be a happy individual when I met him, and just cool. He didn't give off predatory vibes. He just was very open and warm, and we ended up um, building a friendship. Now, in my point of view, I looked at this older man as like a uncle. That's how I honestly envisioned him, and a uncle in my perception, because again, he never was like predatory. He never was um like sexualizing me verbally or anything like that, not even visually. He was never throwing that type of energy. The type of energy he was throwing at me, I can describe it now accurately, was like of caring and of concern, and I was dating at the time because I was single when I met him, and I would tell him about my interactions with guys, and he would give me advice, and we would have a cool, chill time. Um, he introduced me to what's the name of that? What you call it? That cognac, Cavassier. Cavassier? Am I saying it right? Yeah, Cavassier. He introduced me to Cavassier. I only knew about um, what my great auntie introduced me to, which was Hennessy. The ghetto. The ghetto, the ghetto, the ghetto. All right, sidebar. The reason why, because obviously I was in the ghetto. 90 North Parade wasn't necessarily in the ghetto. Mm, it was kind of like borderline, It was a lot of houses around there. Um, but Buffalo is predominantly houses anyway. So, for me, coming from New York City, houses are suburbs, but not necessarily, because there's ghettos that have just houses and not high rise buildings or projects and things of that sort. But nonetheless, the sidebar of me saying the ghetto was um, there was a performance Thursday, and this amazing artist named Craig, and he was doing his spoken word. And previously, he had invited the choir to back him up, and so he was like, "Can you not do that again?" Now, this time was different than the first time, you know. And I will have video of it and get to share it. The first time I didn't get no video of it, but it still was memorable. And this time, obviously, was very memorable too. So that's why that came out, because two people see me today, and that was the first thing like they thought about. They was like, that performance, me and my other choir member is basically performing that part, while the spoken word artist gave performed his actual poem. So anyway, that's why I said that. But yeah, back to me and my ex husband. So yeah, I would go over there. I mean, he's resting with the ancestors now. I think it's okay to mention his name. Um, his name is John. Just making it more easy for me to explain everything, because as I'm expressing this, and I hadn't even thought that it was gonna start here, you know, um, I still want to have honor and respect for his privacy, but he's not even in existence anymore physically. So, yeah, so I'm just gonna go through naturally. We're not putting much thought to sharing our experience. So yeah, me and John, I would go over there, um, chill. The house was clean. Um, Environment was comfortable. There was younger guys there, but the younger guys, he kept them away from me. He kept them away from us. We would chill in the living room area. We would laugh. We would joke. I would talk about work. I would talk about life. I would talk about the guys I was dating. And once again, I perceived him to be an uncle. Now, here I'm gonna stop again and go a little side off. I had and I think I may have still one physical uncle. Like, my biological mother did have two brothers. One brother passed away, and the other brother, I met him one time in all of my years. Um, they never were active uncles. So my view of an uncle was just an older man. I didn't know how an uncle was supposed to behave. I didn't know how an uncle was supposed to interact with his niece. I just knew an uncle was an older man that perhaps cared for a girl, or a young lady. So that's why I classified John as a uncle, like sort of like an adopted uncle. And I got comfortable. I went over there quite often, at least several times a week. On my off days, that's where I was at. If I wasn't with the guy I was dating, I was with him. And I was telling him about, my experiences with the guys. And he would give me advice, and the advice was sound advice. I felt safe, during our first initial interactions. Little did I know that he was sizing me up, and I can laugh about it now because I have healed. That I'm in my 40s now. So again, I was 19 then. So I have healed, I have grown. But yeah, he was certainly analyzing the interactions. He was certainly sizing me up and being very strategic about it, not coming off the gate like the other younger people were, but just like, you know, this is a good young lady. Like, even though I was in the ghetto, I'm from the ghetto, I still had the intelligence to sit down and have serious conversations and also manage my consumption of the Cavassier, not too much, never got sloppy. It was just like two adults just socializing and having a good time, chit chatting, Again, it was never no sexual nothing, for like a whole 3 months. And until that changed. And this is how that changed. And even when that changed, it was something that was so new to me. So this is how that changed. Um, I'm coming over there after work on my days off, you know. We chilling, he's doing things, for me. I'm telling him about the guys I'm dating. He's giving me sound advice. He's showing what I perceive to be genuine concern. And then all of a sudden, about 3 months of us doing this consistently, he felt comfortable to share um, how he was truly feeling. And it threw me off initially because he was very direct. He didn't beat around no bush. He was very direct. He was like, I want you. And I looked at him puzzled, like, what you talking about, Unc? And he was like, no, no. I am going to have you. You are going to be mine. And I'm like, mm. At now, 19-year-old me thought that was a little cute. 40-something-year-old me would be looking like, okay, you cannot, I'm not a possession. So what do you want to do with me exactly? I would have asked those questions, but I asked those questions at 19. I just looked at him and I laughed, and he was like, the the thing he said after he said that was that I can make you feel real good. And I was like, huh? What you talking about? I feel okay already. What you talking about? And after that, he was like, I'm going to get a little vulgar now. I can make you come 21 times. This is something that I probably never will forget. And I was like, 21 times in a row. 21 times? First of all, I don't know why you picked that number. Shoot, if you would have said 10, I would have been like, what? Because my orgasms at that time, I was very sexual at that time. My orgasms would be like, two, three at the top, So 10 would have been like caught my attention, but 21 times in a row with one interaction to an intellect that's 19? Excuse me. That's my fart gas, but my fart audible probably, hey, whatever. I dare say I was intrigued. I was absolutely intrigued. And so he was very confident. He said it. And he was like, if you don't believe me, no matter of fact, he didn't even say if you don't believe me. He was like, if you if you think I'm playing, no, how did he say it? Whenever you ready to find out. I think that's how he worded it. Whenever you ready to find out, all you gotta do is give me the signal. All you gotta say is what's up with that 21, and I'ma show you. And then he left it like that. And then we continued laughing and joking. So the next day, the next day, it was an off day for me, I'm sure. And I was like, this motherfucker lying. I gotta see this shit right here. Like, again, I was looking at him as an older guy, um, and he was not like a physically buff guy. He was an older, decently built guy, but again, not buff. Um, I never even looked in his crotch area to try to size up anything about him because, again, I was looking at him as a respectable older guy, even though um, now in hindsight, respectable older guy is probably not chilling with a 19-year old. Like they're probably chilling with women their age. But I digress. At 19, that was my thought of him. So like he made that statement the prior day. Now it's the next day. I'm over there. I'm calling his bluff. What's up with that 21? So he's like, "Oh, you serious?" And I was like, "Mm-hmm." So I go in. He pours me a drink, and again, the place was always spick and span. Um, Good music, good vibes. The young guys was like in the front, you know, doing what they did. They never came into this part of the space. Um, and he proceeded to, we counted, he proceeded to show me. We counted like after every time I came. And how he did this was through oral sex. And what was astounding to me was, I mean, the 21 was phenomenal. You know, it was like heaven on earth. It was very pleasurable. Have you got? Which is why, again, sex is not a big deal to me. I love it. I would love to enjoy it within a sacred union. And just being off the market doesn't mean that I have crossed that threshold yet. I have not crossed that threshold yet. Um, but anyway, yeah, now there are a lot of things that I have not experienced, but as far as orgasms, oh yeah, I remember my first orgasm. My first orgasm was through me receiving oral sex, and I was very, very young. I feel like I was 15. I'm pretty sure I know I was 15. So oral sex is something that I really, really enjoy. And so yeah, John ate the holy crap out of my pussy. He drank a lot of this yoni juice, okay? And it must have gave him wings. But here's the thing that stood out to me was that after when I first had my first orgasm at 15, and the individual performed oral sex on me. Um, this was another older person, not as old as John was, but older than me, maybe by at least more than 10 years. Way more than 10 years. He was more than 25 years old. He had to be at least 30. So yeah. After Let's go back. After that first orgasm, after I was like, oh my God, I never experienced anything like that. It was phenomenal, right? Afterwards, he proceeded to give me some amazing. This is not John. This is the person who gave me my first orgasm. Um, and the person who gave me my first orgasm was not the person who broke my virginity, because my son was already born once I received my first like oral sex. Had I came before, yeah, but coming and having an orgasm is different. Coming, okay, whoo, feels great, da da da. Orgasm is Another audible fart, perhaps. The orgasm is not an audible fart, but I did just fart. But anyway, um, so yeah, that person who gave me my first like oral stimulation, first oral orgasm, afterwards gave me this amazing um penis. So I expected my ex-husband John to follow up, to follow that suit. Again, I'm learning. I'm learning through experience. About men, so to speak. Nobody taught me anything. There ain't no uncles. There is no male figures in my life to protect or do any of that stuff. So I'm just learning. And trusting my intuition as well, which is very strong. And we'll get back to that part of me, because that's been something that's been prevalent in me from, I want to say, from birth. I really, really feel from birth. But back to John, performing oral sex on me, me coming 21 times because, like, first orgasm, you look up, I mean, he was looking up at me the whole time, but you look up, okay, that's one. Take a few minutes, go back down. I'm like, oh, shit. Oh, whoa. And of course, after the first one, the other ones, it don't take too long to get to. Um, and then afterwards, he just like got up and I he didn't even pull his pants down. He didn't even pull his pants down. I still had no idea what the hell was inside of his pants. And I really was like not even curious because I was just like, hey, 21 orgasms is amazing. I'm gonna take a nap and and please don't nobody ever, I'm just sharing this to give insight. This is not anything for anybody to ever try. That was a one time thing that I experienced. I'm not saying I wouldn't want to experience it ever again, but yeah, don't feel no way. Um, please, I can't tell you how to feel, but I'm just putting it out there. So anyway, yeah, I took a nap. He didn't even pull his pants down. He like went about his business. I took a nap. I woke up. Um, and left. Went home. And I continued to go over there. And every time I went back over there following that experience, it wasn't all of that time, but every time I went over there, on top of how we initially was, just laughing and joking and, having sociable cocktails, Cavassier, also partaking of some marijuanas, it was like, now there's an extra added bonus. So I'm going to come chill with this cool person who seems to genuinely care about me, who's giving me good advice, um, who's, being generous. Of course, they would feed me while I was over there and stuff like that. Sometimes I would bring food, like I will always get home safely. And he never even asked to come to my space. He had never asked to come to my space. For in my perception, that was his house. That was his house. He was letting these young boys stay there. Yeah, they had their little bit of weed or whatever that they were dealing or whatnot. But it was like whatever. Like it's the hood. Like I'm from the hood. It's no big deal. House is clean. It's safe. It ain't loud. It ain't obnoxious. He created a whole atmosphere um, there, you know, and so I continued to go. I felt safe there. I felt comfortable there. I had a good time, and now, before he said, I want you, you know what I'm saying? I had a good time just going there and being in his company, Again, I didn't know he was sizing me up. Not only was he sizing me up, he was being very strategic with me because he's being nice, he's giving me things, he's feeding me, he's not putting on a jealousy thing when I'm telling him about these other guys previously. After that experience, it was like, oh, I'm done. What am I dating for now? Like, okay, you gonna be my older boyfriend. And you're not even trying to penetrate me. Like, oh gosh, all these other guys that I was dating, that was predominantly what was on their mind. And when I tell you, it was all type of guys, and they were professional guys. They were good guys. They all had good jobs, different professions, um, respectable professions. I mean, I even had one that was, I want more than one that was clergy. And I was just like, hmm. But they like almost immediately they come off nice, may take me out, but yeah, they wanted the buns. And you know, John's not like that. At least he didn't put that on. He didn't put that front on like that. So I was like, oh, John's kind of cool. John is kind of cool. Again, this is my 19-year-old perception and brain. I had no idea about nothing at 19. Yes, talented and gifted, but still, I wouldn't say a product of the ghetto, but still navigating through the societal norms within the ghetto. Like in the ghetto, it's like that was normal. It's normal for a younger lady to be in the company of an older guy. That was something that it wasn't even frowned upon. It wasn't like, you know, anybody would see me go in there and be looking at me like, mm-mm. It was like, oh, okay, cool, good for you. Um, so anyway, and my friend that lived on Utica Street, she was like cool. She's like, okay, girl, good for you. Hey, ow. So it was like, okay, cool. Like this is everything's good. It's not good. It's not good. Had I had an actual uncle and explained this interaction to an actual uncle who's actually active in my life, they probably would have been like, absolutely not, niece. No, be careful, and gave me pointers. But no, I learned the the hard way. Through, no, I wouldn't say the hard way. I learned through experience. Um, so anyway, this is like maybe like fourth month. So he goes a whole nother 3 more months now. Um, and we're only doing that. He still has not even once like tried to penetrate me. And at 19, I'm not even thinking like that's an issue. Like I'm just like, because you're feeding me, you're giving me. He was giving me money too. Feeding me, giving me money. We're laughing, we're having a good time. The environment is seems to be comfortable, seems to be safe. You know what am I concerned about? You know, until um finally we do it. So now it's been 6 months. First 3 months, I didn't even see him as anything sexual. Then once we do cross the barrier of sex, he's just like giving me, giving me, giving me, giving me, not even asking, oh my God, what's such generosity? Not in my head thinking like, this is strange, this is weird, just, oh, nobody has ever just given to me so much without asking me for anything. But my company and my time. I'm laughing because it was all strategy. Strategy, 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 strategy. Let's continue. So now, um, he penetrates me. The penetration part was not so great, but it wasn't horrible. And I had already, you know, had my orgasms prior to him even penetrating me. 6 months of um, gone. We are officially boyfriend and girlfriend now. He bought me a car, um, and it wasn't a new car. Okay, so let's not. It was a Toyota Camry that was so. He taught me how to drive. It was so jacked up, but it was like the best thing to learn to drive in because I literally learned how to drive with no brakes. No brakes. I stopped that car with the emergency brake. Those Toyota Camrys back in the day, they have the emergency brake in the middle that you pull up. That's how I learned how to drive. hmm hmm so that's why I drive really good with actually real brakes. But I learned, and I drove all over Buffalo. I got on the highway, all type of stuff. Never had any accidents in that car. Me, I never had any accidents in that car. Him, yes, he drove it and did something to it, or either broke down, one or the other. But and then now we're in a relationship. Then all of a sudden, now he had me get a tattoo, my first tattoo, Super. So let's go back to my best friend at the time that lived on Utica Street. Um, her nickname was Star, and that was my bestie. And so um, we together would call ourselves Superstar, but it was never Super Star. It was always Super, you know. So I was the Super, she was the Star, and that was our little girl duo, you know. And that friendship lasted for a very, very, very long time. It continued beyond Buffalo. Um, she ended up getting married twice or three times. I think twice. So that friendship was a long enduring friendship until I got to a point in my healing journey where I noticed like we were growing in different directions. Both growing, but just growing in different directions. I was growing um, more so outside of I wouldn't say societal norms, but I would say I was growing more spiritually. I think that's a better, accurate description. Um, and she was growing more dogmatically. And when I say dogmatic, like her spirituality was more based on the dogmatic instructions that was coming out of religious organizations. Don't do this, don't do that. That's evil, that's bad, da 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 da. Da. And so she really took those things to heart in her spiritual walk. And I was going a whole different direction spiritually. My spirituality was about freedom and about growth and about expansion and about empowerment and about divinity not being something outside of me, not God sitting in the sky telling me, don't do this or do this, I'm bad, da 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 da. And then, yeah, so that made her uncomfortable because, you know, in the dogmatic institutions, they coin witchcraft as something to be negative and something to be evil and something to be bad and yada yada yada. When in actuality, it can be a source of freedom. They don't want you to be free. They want you to be bound. They want you to come to this institution and give them your money off of trickery when you can have an institution based on truth and still have people willfully and truthfully and honestly contribute to your institution. But I guess the common day dogmatic churches haven't got word of that yet. So some of them are still very dogmatic and trickery. God is up there watching you and you better not do this because if you do that, where the same people that's telling you not to do stuff is doing it. And so that's what happened with that friendship. But it lasted for over 20 years. Um, but back to John. So now I get my first tattoo. I got my first little car, even though it's jacked up. I'm working. I got my space, 90 North Parade, which is humongous. He finally comes over there. He's like, whoa. Now, it wasn't because it was fancy, but it was big. You know, my son had his own room. I had two large bedrooms, a living room, a dining room, a decent sized kitchen, and on off side of my kitchen I had this little like patio area, but it was enclosed. So I could actually see a good portion of the park just out of my window. I had a view. And he came over there and like maybe I want to say a week, maybe 2 weeks after came over there, because now I feel comfortable. I've known him maybe like 7 months now. It feels like a real relationship because it progressed. It wasn't like, oh, I met this guy and he took me out one or two times, and then he wanted to hit my skins and then toss me to the side. No, it was like, oh, this guy wasn't even trying to have sex with me initially, and for a whole 3 months. And then when he did, um, offer to give me sexual pleasure. He wasn't even asking for any sexual pleasure himself for a whole nother 3 months. And he didn't change up anything. It wasn't like, oh, he started eating my pussy and now he's like giving me less attention, giving me no, he started being more providing in a way. And I was just like, oh, okay, oh, oh, this must be what love is. So anyway, he comes over and then maybe a couple of weeks after he's come over to my space, he tells me he had a fight with somebody in his neighborhood and he had to go. And I was like, you had to go? What you mean you had to go? And I'm still like, I'm still naive, even though um, I didn't put two and two together with the individual he had a fight with. Why did y'all have a fight? I didn't even ask why y'all had a fight. I just assumed that this other individual was the aggressor because John wasn't aggressive to me, not at that point, not at that time. So when he tells me he has to move, I tell him, "Come over here, boyfriend. Come stay with me." So now he's there with me, and almost like immediately after he's there with me, my bestie, she had a cousin. She didn't have had a cousin. She has a cousin. And initially, I was how me and her even were introduced to each other was through her cousin, a guy, and I was in love with that guy or Dickmatized, probably both. Very intellectual brother, and I am a sapio. I didn't even know what a sapio was at that point in time. I just know that I'm very intellectual. I love academia. I love knowledge. A seeker of knowledge and of truth. And so was her cousin. So that's how me and her cousin had connected way before John, you know. But, where I was like, okay, yes, Chocolate Thunder, we doing this. He was like, yeah, no, you're not even in college. He was in college at the time. You're not even in school, and da 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 da. And I'm not ready for this, and da 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 da. And I don't know what happened between her and him, but they got into it, and he needed somewhere to go. Now, even though he had aunties and da 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 da, he asked me if he could come stay with me. I got room. You understand what I'm saying? John is not in the room by himself. John is in the room with me. Javon has his own room. I have an extra bedroom, which was actually the extra bedroom was AKA the smoke room because I did not smoke throughout my whole house. I had a Pacific section, and that was the section. And because I don't like to smell throughout the house, whatever. I like my house to smell like Misteline, lavender, fabuloso, sweet smells and and food. So anyway, um, Boo Boo, we call Boo 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 Boo. So Boo Boo comes with me, and Boo Boo was always like I don't know how to describe Boo Boo, but I felt even more safer. Like I have Boo Boo here with me, I got my man here with me. I'm working, things is good, things is cool. Jovan's at school, the bus come pick him up. I'm like, oh, I thought I was building a life there. I had no idea of the challenges that John was really dealing with internally at all. No idea whatsoever. However, let's get into my spiritual gifts and the bold statement that I said I was going to make about 40 minutes ago. I'll make it now. I'm an oracle. Things and visions come to me way before they happen in real life and dreams. But I did, and I've always had this gift, but I didn't know what it was. So I had a dream, even though I wasn't aware of what John was experiencing internally. Spirit knew, and he knew. So I had a very vivid dream. Oh, very, 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 very vivid, where I looked him in his eyes. Now, I had a vivid dream yesterday when I looked the person in their eyes and I could see the other. Oh God. Ooh. And then when I seen them in real life, I'm nervous. Like, oh my God. Now I can't with you guys because the things that we. Mm, let's focus. Let's focus. Let's focus. Let's focus. Back to John. So yeah, I had a very vivid dream, and he was specifically trying to coerce me into joining him on a particular path that he had chosen for himself with substance abuse. And I was just like, oh. And in the dream was Boo Boo. And I told Boo Boo about this. And Boo Boo was like, you got to get out. Boo Boo put him out. Boo Boo put him out. I stayed in that location. Javon went to school, graduated, went to college. Me and Boo Boo became a thing. It was a happy, it was a happy life. That's how what happened in the dream. In reality, when I woke up, Boo Boo wasn't there. Boo Boo had went outside, went to work somewhere. Boo Boo wasn't there. Who was there was John. So who I shared the dream with was not who I um, had shared with in the dream. Yeah, you ever have a dream where it's like a double layer? Yeah, it was like that. Before that, Leonardo the whatever the Brachio, whatever his name is. Before that shit came out, I experienced some real shit like that, like a dream within a dream. So it was some real profound shit. Like they were being very serious about what they were trying to communicate to me. But I didn't know. I didn't know. I didn't know it was a damn oracle. I didn't know the meaning of my dreams at that time. Like I had so many different dreams. Like so many different dreams. We're gonna get into that part about my dreams. But anyway, yeah, I just knew that it was very vivid. Like it was so the urgency I felt. You know, they were warning me. They were warning me to get the heck away from that guy. And they were letting me know that Boo Boo was there to be supportive and like to help and be protective and things of that sort. Um, but I didn't know that. So when I woke up, I shared the dream with the first person that was there, which was John. And John, because John knew what he was doing, and I had no idea because in my mind, I had a perception of what people who had substance abuse problems, what they look like. Because I'm coming from Marcy, and people who had substance, Marcy Projects, people who had substance abuse problems looked at very decrepit, very skinny, very like undernourished, and John didn't look like that. John, he stood upright. Again, he wasn't buff like the Hulk or fucking the Hulk. He wasn't buff like Dwayne Johnson or anything, but he didn't look malnutrition. He ate well. Not only did he eat well, shit, he was feeding me too. I've never seen him that way, but there are different levels to substance abuse, and there's people with substance abuse problems who unfortunately don't, I won't say unfortunately, but don't look like how the typical person, in my perception, looked. But the dream was the revelation, but he knew that he had the substance abuse issue, and that is why he had to fight the person that he had to fight with, you know. But I didn't know. I'm like, oh, living my best life. But if I was older, I would have put it together before it was too late. But when I told him about that dream, he got very scared because he saw me as a way out, so to speak, which was weird because how you see this young lady as a way out, like to take care of your own shit, do your own inner healing and stuff. Don't look at, my oracle ass. I didn't even know I was a damn oracle at the time. And think that I'm a way out. The fuck? No, you are your own way out, sir. You coming jacking up my goddamn on stuff that I had already got through all this other trauma. I did not need. No additional trauma, okay? I had already gotten through foster care. I already gotten through being abandoned. I already gotten through being neglected. I already gotten through physical abuse, so I thought. And now, sir, cause I got through that stuff, you wanna utilize me as a way outer or way shower or whatever the fuck. I don't know the fuck. You wanted to fucking use my young, silly behind ass. I'm going to work, I'm respectable, like whatever. I tell him though about the dream. He's alarmed. Oh wait, he might have to go, and he ain't trying to fuck with Boo Boo behind, cause obviously Boo Boo was younger. Boo Boo was like, mm, Boo Boo was only a couple of years older than me. If I was 19, Boo Boo was maybe 22 at the most, maybe 23. So you got this young chocolate dreadlock, just this young, powerful man here. Yeah, John was not about to squabble with him. Okay, he couldn't even squabble with the skinny dude that he had a squabble with. He let that motherfucker punk him till he didn't have nowhere to go. Supposedly, who knows? Again, he might have willfully left and told me that shit so he had somewhere to be at. But anyway, when I told John about the dream, he was like, I don't feel comfortable with Boo Boo here. That's all he said. He wasn't like, oh, he didn't get aggressive or anything. He just said, I don't feel comfortable with him here. So I was like, well, Boo Boo's my friend. He could stay here, type shit. I go to Boo Boo silly behind. I know Boo Boo was young at this time. If Boo Boo was any older, I just see like this would have went a whole different way. I tell Boo Boo what he said. Now, possibly at this time, Boo Boo has feelings that he ain't even being expressed to me about for whatever reason. Okay, and when I tell Boo Boo what John says, Boo Boo leaves. He don't be like, oh, so what? He get over it. I'm this. Are you comfortable? You comfortable? Shoot, I'm saying. Nah, no. Boo Boo got very emotional. It was like he don't feel comfortable here. He don't feel comfortable. Well, shoot, I'ma go. I got aunts. Da 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 blah blah blah. And I was just like, okay. Everything went downhill from there. When I tell you everything went downhill from there. I started having, I got into physical fights with women. There was 4 apartments in there with women inside of that building. I knew, well, I didn't know, but I found out later that the lady who lived right next door to me had the same issue that John had. And not only did she have the same issue, the lady underneath me, now the lady underneath me, I would have never guessed it. She was old, they both were older than me. These were grown women. I want to say the lady that lived next door to me was maybe like, mm, in her late 30s, and the lady underneath me was like in her 50s. And John at the time was in his mid 40s. His mid 40s. And so the lady that's in her late 30s, she was really bad. So it was evident. Size wise, though, it wasn't evident, which again was new to me because, in my perception, somebody who has substance abuse issues looked very skinny, looked unhealthy. But the lady next door to me was a plus size woman, but you could see it in her environment. Like she had no furniture, she had a baby girl, and it was just stuff thrown all over the place. And I was just like, okay, but me being who I am, I'm like, I'm not gonna judge her. Um, she asked me for help and stuff, like take her to the supermarket, and I would take her to the supermarket and stuff. I even gave her groceries before, and so this the person I am as far as being generous and being loving and kind. That is this part of my soul, and so I was driving her around and stuff, not even knowing that because of the things, the challenges that she was going through, people were looking at me strangely, like why y'all together? Because people had basically casted her off. They had casted her off. They had forgot about her. They didn't even look at her as a human being anymore. But all I saw was The fact that she was a mother, the fact that she was a black woman, and even though I couldn't relate with those particular, with the challenges of substance abuse, I could relate with the challenge of being a mother. I could relate with the challenge of being a black woman. So if I got, it's in my capability to assist you and help you, why not? You know? So that was my interaction with her. The lady downstairs, Vera. I know, oh my God, it's amazing. I still remember these ladies' names. Vera, I would have never thought Vera had any of those things until, because Vera's space was together. Vera had like 3 kids. They one was grown. They all looked well kept, taken care of. She didn't have no small kids. She had like teenagers and an adult child. So again, hair always did, house neat and clean. Cooked amazing because before John came there, I was I was cool with both of those women. We were cool. When John gets there, now all of a sudden we ain't cool, and I don't know. My 19-year-old behind don't know what happened. Okay, but now Vera not only does Vera want to fight me. You can't see me because I'm in the dark right now. Vera does fight me. I get pregnant with my daughter with John, and Vera wants to fight me while I'm pregnant. I fight Vera. Vera like bites the top of my eye or some shit like that. And I think I still have that scar on my face. You can't see it because it's in the dark. When it's in the light, I'm going to show you. I'm going to come on here and do like a short or whatever because I ain't about to get up. I mean, the lamp is right there. Y'all want to see it now? The lamp literally is like right there. Like I could reach the lamp. All right, I don't know what the heck I'm going to look like. Myself. All right. Yep, there it goes. I don't know if you could see it, but this scar right here is from that fight when I was 19 years old and pregnant. Um, Now these other scars are pimples I popped, except for this one up here. This one up here is not this one. That's a pimple, but that line. I don't know if you can even see that line. Yeah, you see that line? The line scar is from me freaking falling off of something when I was younger and getting stitches and stuff like that. So, but anyway, so me and Vera fight and stuff. Um, I was doing the home health aid. I had just gotten a freaking what park did I get a job at? I got an amusement park. I can't even think of the name of the amusement park. But I got my first public safety position, and I was in the control center, and I was like, ooh, I like it, I like it. It lasted all of a fucking week. Not even a week. I think it lasted all of a fucking day. Because after I came home and had that motherfucking fight, one of the stipulations of me keeping that job was having no police contact. After I had that motherfucking fight, I got arrested for fucking assault. She started to fight with me, but they arrest my behind, and now I got a charge. Now the charge ends up dropping, but still I end up losing my job. Not only did I lose my job now I lost my job. Even though I was in a similar housing situation where my rent was stable, I did not even know how it worked. I didn't know how it worked. I didn't know. I didn't know. I didn't know I could have kept my place even though I didn't have my job. I assumed, listening to other people talking about um, their regular rent, that when I lost my job, that I couldn't afford the place anymore. And guess what? The guy that I thought loved me, that was actually behind all of this shit that was happening to me because of his personal issues. He didn't even tell me. He didn't tell me. He watched me pack up my motherfucking shit when I didn't have to. I had Section 8 at the time. He watched me. He didn't watch me. He helped me pack up whatever I could take with me and my son, get on a motherfucking Greyhound to New York City because I thought that I was unable to pay my rent, and so I had to leave. He didn't tell me about no court system. He didn't tell me about the fact that, oh, you got Section 8. Just notify your worker and they'll adjust your rent until you find another job. He didn't tell me shit. So I am pregnant with his child, with my young son, with my bags, and now I'm back in New York City trying to figure out what the hell I'm going to do. Do I have to start all over again, find a job, save some money, and get a place? Which, hello, in Buffalo, how I got my first place, that's what I did. My first place, even though I went through the shelter, I got a job. I worked, saved my money. The rent was like $400 something dollars. It was easy to afford. And from there, I went into my Section 8 place. So I thought I knew how things worked. I get to New York City. I go stay with one of my mother's sisters. This is the one who used to come around, my great aunt, because my great aunt is the one who basically had me from 10 years, from until I was 10 years old. So that I was in kinship foster care before I went to regular foster care with strangers. So this particular aunt, my mother's sister, would come over a bit, and she would bring my little cousin with her, and that's why me and my little cousin now call each other brother and sister because we've known each other our entire lives. But anyway, um, I should say I've known him his entire life because I'm a little older than him. But anyway, I go with her. You know, she's very much into this dogmatic religion. She's very much judging my pregnant 19-year-old behind with this baby and being unmarried at the time. You know, so she's very much putting that marriage thing into my head. But I've always wanted to be married, even before that programming, before the judgments. You know, I just always wanted to have it. Um, but I didn't know about how to have it. You know, I didn't know how to have it. I didn't know. I thought it was just two people making an agreement, and I didn't know really how it functions. Um, but I know I always wanted it. So now, um, I don't know whether I didn't want to go to the Kingdom Hall or what it was, but me and her, we ain't getting along with each other. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to do the same process I did in Buffalo. I'm going to do the same process here in New York. Oh, I go across the bridge. She lives in Harlem. She lives across the bridge. She lives on 145th Street. There's a bridge at the end of 145th Street that goes straight into the Bronx. Once you get off of that bridge, you are on 149th Street, and the shelter is within walking distance. I didn't walk there, but I went there. And interesting. Of more revelations now as I reflect back of me and the type of energy I've always embodied, but I had no clue about. I go to this place and it's horrible. It was like the bookings. I told you I had got arrested, even though the charge didn't stick and it dropped for assault. Um, yeah, that shit was like the bookings. It was same shit. Only difference was there was not no actual um cells there. Like it was no actual bars. It was no actual bars. It was cells, but they just had doors on them. But it was no bars there. A bar. I like to say a bar is better than a door. Because at least a door you could sort of open. But it was horrible. It was one floor. It was horrible. Fast forward, they have torn that building down and rebuilt a whole new state of the art building, which I had to go through. in order to navigate housing. Because when I packed up my stuff and left, because I thought I couldn't stay there because I wasn't working no more. Nobody told me this. This was all on my own self. Even if I would have talked to my landlord, I would have gotten. But this is why I'm so particular from, because I learned things so hard. I learned things so hard. Um, okay, yes, my ex-husband could have told me. Yes, I could have inquired with my landlord. Yes, I could have even called to the lady who assisted me, my case manager, in getting the sectioning. But guess what? There was blockages to all of that because individuals that are struggling with substance abuse, they are also entertaining all types of negative energies, all different types of energies. And we're not talking about a person that I'm just near and so their aura may be spilling into my aura. We're talking about a person that I was having relationships with, sexual relations with. You talk about somebody that was penetrating me. The fact, the fact that by the graces and the strength of my ancestors and my very soul itself, the fact that I have not had that challenge in my life, thankfully, gratefully, by my ancestors, the grace, the divinity in me is an attestation of the astounding strength, because there's no way. It don't make no sense. It makes no mental sense. And not only does it not make any sense, those those entities and those energies definitely, unfortunately, latched on to my offspring. Another reason why I'm very particular. And another reason why I'm so, I would say not hypersensitive, I would say ultra sensitive. Because now I know what that looks like. And I know it doesn't look the same on everybody, but I know what it looks like because I've seen it. I have seen it, and I have aided as a warrior, is what wants to come out of my mouth. So I'm gonna let it come out. As a spiritual warrior, um, for my son. Oh yeah. But before I even get to the spiritual warrior with my son, let's let's go back to now me in that shelter in the Bronx, pregnant with my son. In the shelter is like very similar to central bookings. The processes, the people, the environment, the energy, very similar. Um, and I'm like, what in the entire heck is going on? But I'm tough and I'm strong, so I just go with the flow of it. And now I have a quote unquote placement, and I'm now in Queens, and it's like an old hotel, and I have my room, and we have our own bathroom, and I have more control of my environment. But I'm also paying attention to my environment. And if I was had a bit of wisdom, I would have just stayed there, pregnant, and with my son. I wasn't pregnant with him. He was already here. I was pregnant with my daughter, but I would have been there, pregnant with my son, and we would have just toughed it out. We just would have toughed it out. But that wasn't the choice that I made. Even though John didn't get on the bus with me, I was still communicating with John. John tried to get it together, but what I really, in hindsight, wish much, even if he would have been honest with me, I probably would have left. If he would have told me what he was struggling with, I would have left. I wouldn't have even been communicating with him, but I was communicating with him, and he was like, I'm trying to get to you. So he tells me that he lied to go into a program. Like all the clues was right there. Oh, to be young and ignorant. All the clues right there. This is his words exactly. He lied to go into a program because they will help him get housing, and once he gets housing, I could come back and live with him. All along while I'm going through this shelter system in New York City, carrying his baby in my stomach with my son by my side. And I'm looking in the shelter because I'm in a family shelter. I'm not in a women's shelter. So being that I'm in a family shelter, there's men in there. There's men in there with their women and their children. And I'm like, hold up, wait a minute. You going through a daggone program to get a place, but you could be up here and we could get a place together. So how about we do that? So he leaves. He comes to me, and in order for him to come into the shelter, um, I don't even think they had domestic partnership back then. Maybe they did. I don't think they did though. Um, Either the baby got to be here already, or he has to be my husband, my legal husband. So we go down to the Justice of Peace. That's April 2004. Janasia, my baby girl, was born June 11th, 2004. So you can see I was very, very, very pregnant. I wasn't a little bit pregnant. And I carried big babies and birth big babies. My son was 9 pounds 1 ounce, and Janasia came out eight, 8'10" or 8'12. I think she came out 8'12. She came out 8'12. She was a big baby girl. And so yeah, this is what, April, June. I'm like already 7 months. So I'm humongous. But I take my humongous behind down to the Justice of Peace. And in the Justice of Peace, like my ancestors, I love them. I wish I just knew what the feelings and intuitive things I was experiencing as I was growing and maturing. I wish I knew and trusted it and followed it, because they've always been with me, always protecting me all the freaking time. And I remember being in that Justice of Peace and ready to walk out. And I also remember his sister, yes, sister, lovely lady, who called herself trying to warn me, but ma'am, you should have just said it. You should have just straight out said, my brother does ABCD. Are you aware of that? Because she has a daughter that's my same age, and I can't see myself. Um, for example, if this is not even my blood brother, but my cousin, say my cousin, which I call my brother, had this issue, and he's with um, I have a child that is uh, 19 years old, and my brother, who is twice this child's age, has a young lady that is the same age. Um, I would ask. I would ask. I would ask. And the mother and me would ask. Um, the mother and me would ask. There's no way you're the same age as my child. I know what my brother's issue is. I don't know if you have that issue or not. But I'm gonna. How would I know if I don't ask you? How would I know? I'm gonna ask you. Do you also have this issue? Do you know that he has this issue? Like, say it. Don't give me clues, ma'am. You know what she told me? Oh, he stole from me before. Okay. Your brother stole from you before. I don't think you should do it. I don't think you should marry him. Okay. You don't think I should marry him because he stole from you? It sounds like sibling rivalry. Like, maybe I should have asked. I need more details. You know? but I wasn't old enough or mature enough to know the importance of asking questions like that. I just wasn't. And I just knew like I needed to survive and I didn't want to survive by myself. So I just was ignorant to his issues. Um, I was just young and ignorant. So now I'm in a legal contract with this person. We go into the shelter, and now he feels like I gotta. I remember when we finalized the contract. I remember us standing in front of this European guy, and he was like, "Oh, good job, you got her now." Like, she's definitely spellbound. She's spellbound now. You are no longer who you thought you were. You are now Mrs. Poole. And I own both of you motherfuckers. That's how the European guy was looking at us. Like, I own you both, and you, nigga, you own her ass now. And he looked at me like that. He, like, the look in John's eyes was a look that I would never forget because that was what that look, that was my interpretation of that look. Like, I own you now. And that's when shit got real motherfucking fucked up. I ain't gonna say it got interesting. It got real fucked up. It got real fucked up real quick. That motherfucker put his hands on me in the shelter. Okay? In the motherfucking shelter. I called motherfucking cops on his ass. They arrested him. He did time. He did time for assaulting me. Then he finessed his way back into my life. And that was the pattern. So now, after I got through all that other stuff before meeting that motherfucker, now here goes another bunch of trials and tribulations. But that song that I sang with my choir, um, Still I Rise, when they say trials are there to make you stronger, oh, I was already strong. I came in here and I incarnated with strength. But the trials that I went through, oh, they fortified me for sure. Which is another reason why I have the wisdom I have and I have the insights that I have. And even now on the surface, um, I could pretty much possibly look similar to other people, but my spirit and my soul is uniquely an expression of the true power of divinity, the true power of God, not the dogmatic power, washed down, watered down, manipulate. No, actuality, the actual power of God operates through me and as me. I am that I am for sure. And anybody who is consciously connected with their divinity, because although we all have divinity in us, anybody who is consciously connected to that divinity, oh, they recognize me easily. And we recognize each other. We greet each other. We don't have to know each other. We don't have to know each other's name. I could feel them. I could see them. They could feel me. They could see me. And we absolutely all the time acknowledge each other. All the time. All the time. So, yeah, that was the pattern that went on for about 6 years. Um, I could tell you some gruesome, horrible stories, but I'm not. Um, I'm here. Um, I always fought back. I had no issue. Now I realize, and I know I'm not a man. Um, but yeah, I'm not gonna. I never was, and that's something that I think people should really talk about with domestic violence, because when people hear the word domestic violence, they always have the assumption that the abuser, um, I wouldn't say it's punking, but they have the assumption like the person that's being abused is Weak is what comes to mind, but like they're weak, and most of the time they're traumatized, not necessarily weak. Um, because I always fought back. I never stopped fighting him back. I never stopped fighting him back. I never stopped. I had, at one point, I had order protections in two different fucking states, um, getting away from that motherfucker. I lost the first apartment. I don't even know how many apartments I lost. Um, yeah, but it was quite a few. Hmm. Quite a few. Quite a fucking few. With my son. With my son and my daughter. And when I finally got free was me coming back to Marcy Projects. My great aunt, she was now well in her 90s. She passed on. And when she passed on, if I thought my other ancestors was something, oh, that one right there. Please, please be nice. Please, I beg everybody. Look, you don't have to like me. You don't even have to deal with me. Please do not bother me though. Please don't. Please. She is coming for your ass. I got no control over her. She is a free, literally free, out of her body free, powerful soul. And how I know she came and got me, she came and got me. When she left, she came straight to me. I remember going to see her like maybe a week before she passed. She was in the hospital. Me and my cousin from down south, um, we both visited her. She was in Brooklyn Hospital. She was tired. She was tired. She was tired, but she didn't want to pass away in the hospital. So she got discharged. She went home. And she passed on. She passed on in her sleep. Um, but I remember him fucking with me. Remember him fucking with me. And me going by a window. And there was power, what do they call it? A power pole. You know the pole where the power wires are connected, but there was a box there. You know, some of them just the wires connecting. This particular pole had a box there. I remember standing at the window and being so upset and crying, and that shit popping and sparking. About 5 minutes after that shit popped and sparked, I got a phone call that she had passed away. I instinctively knew that that space that I grew up in was now available for me to go back to with my two children. I instinctively knew that his punk, because a man, listen, men are stronger than women, and if a man physically has to deal with his anger or whatever he's dealing with by physically putting his hands on a woman, um, he's weak. He wouldn't do that with another man. He knows that a woman is physically weaker than him. Men know this. And especially a man that's twice your age, okay? So, yeah, I instinctively know this is an opportunity for me to get back. This is an opportunity for me to be safe with my kids. He's not going to follow me into Marcy Projects because he don't want to deal with these actual thugs. He was a wannabe thug. He was a Buffalo wannabe OG. He wasn't a real OG. I'm going to a place where they gonna read you up and down as soon as you step on the block, sir. You can't come over here fronting because they gonna size you up and put you in your motherfucking place and treat you the fuck accordingly. So you ain't coming there. And he didn't. He stayed right in that town. At that point in time, I was in Pennsylvania, and he stayed right there until he transitioned. Um, but yeah, I came back to what was home to me. And even though I plugged into Safe Horizons and I had wonderful case managers who attempted At this time now, I'm 26, attempted to guide my young behind um, further into safety. I was so stubborn. I was so traumatized. I was so used to um, being the one that protected myself outside of the goddamn police that I didn't trust this white woman when she was telling me, go into the shelter and we'll help you find a place. I was like, why am I going to the shelter when I have a place already? Even though the place was small. I stayed there. And I wish I would have listened to her. Hindsight, I wish I would have listened to her because that very same place um, that I came to for safety, I had no idea about like really, really like cleansing the aura, cleansing the energy of the space. And I had not, I like the stuff I know now. This part of spiritual knowledge did not come from no book. Now, I may have picked up books after experiences and been able to use books as references, but my knowledge and spirituality came from actual experiences. Actual experiences. So now I'm in this space. I don't cleanse the space. The space has all of these energies in here. And then I have people on that lived over me at that time that were doing all other type of stuff to the point the light in me was conflicting with what they had going on up there. I was getting all type of dreams. Um, my silly behind ended up letting one of them come and rent a space so that I could have some income. Like, when I tell you, when I know energy, I know energy. When I read something that says energy is my first language, oh, that's just a reference to me. Because I know. I'm not just going off of, oh, that sounds good. No. I have experiences. I have experiences. So I know when something is off. I know when everything is calm. I know when everything is cool. I can feel it. I can feel it. And so, yeah, I didn't listen to that white lady because I don't trust white people. And I was stubborn and I stayed there. And unfortunately, I did get my divorce. So I did break that spell. And even though I was breaking a spell by getting a divorce, like, what the fuck? Who knew that marriages, uh, especially when you are involving the state, is a spell? You are binding yourself. Oh, man. It's gonna be okay, though. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. Because I'm a chain breaker. Okay? It's gonna be okay. I promise it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be alright. Mm-hmm. Oh, my soul. I have somebody I care about a lot. uh, I'll get to that conversation. Ooh. But I feel how they feel. And I want to just say, before I even continue with my background, that freedom belongs to everybody who wants it. And I don't care what contract you have motherfucking entered into. You can always exit a contract safely. Safely. I tried to tell this to another individual that I had developed deep uh, care for. Um, like, okay, you are in these contracts. I get it. But you still have free will. You could walk away. Like, just, I know you went through complex ritualistic things to bind your soul to this particular organization and these organizations, but you can unbind your soul and you can still operate within those organizations. But you can free your soul. What you like, you don't know. I don't know, but it's possible. It is possible. It is possible. It is possible for you to free your fucking soul. You have divinity in you. You have divinity inside of you. It's limitless. There's no limit on your divinity. So if you have the will, there is a way. I'm not saying I know exactly how to do it, but all I can say is possible. And it's probably not as complex as you think it may be. They have you bounded by fear. Oh, if you do this, you're gonna lose this, you're gonna lose that, you're gonna da. Who are they? Why did you give them authority over your soul? Your soul belongs to you. Your divinity can reclaim your soul at any motherfucking time. Anytime. Anytime you can reclaim your shit. If you decided to go into a contract and you decided to go into an oath and you decided to do all of that, you can decide to undo it. That is divinity. Divinity, all powerful, all this. How can you say this about a force and about a power, but not actually utilize it? Utilize it. So anyway, that person, um, I guess, is enjoying the benefits too much of their contracts, and their stipulation for me was that if there was ever going to be a possibility for us to come together in a union, that I had to also enter into a contract, because that's the way of that is their customs, and they follow their customs to a T. And I'm like, oh, okay, but guess what? My ancestors wouldn't allow it. They wouldn't allow it. They wouldn't allow it. Of course, my stubborn, strong, powerful behind would try to force this into being. But again, that was a learning lesson too. That was a hard learning lesson, but it was a that experience was a good learning lesson, because it gave me firsthand experience with somebody in a prestigious position that has sacred knowledge. And I genuinely, authentically just like was showing up for this person, and I learned a lot. I learned a whole lot. I learned a whole lot. So it prepared me for where I am now, where I didn't even expect to be, because initially in my mind, I was just like waiting out things to clear up. But 10 years of waiting out was a long time. Not really a long time, but yeah, no. When it's a mutual attraction and a mutual recognition, and a mutual respect and a mutual care and a mutual love, then both souls are going to not only feel that connection, both souls are going to um, be drawn to each other. Not only drawn to each other without thought. Like, they're not thinking. They're not like, how can I? And how? No, it's just something that naturally happens. And then they have to, now they're thinking, why is this naturally happening? Why? Hold up. Why is this naturally happening? are you, are you who I think you is? Because I thought somebody else was there. And I can only speak from my own perspective. I'm a let John rest in peace. We have come to uh, what do I call it? We have come to a, 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 a peace, for a long time. Even after I healed, I still was a bit resentful because I was so young and I went through so much, yada, yada, yada. But I want him to be at peace in the afterlife and wherever his spirit and soul is doing. I peacefully release, I peacefully forgive, and I even say thank you, because I wouldn't um, I wouldn't be where I am now. I don't know where I would be. Um, Probably somewhere still being successful, but the value it has somehow, those trials somehow increased my value because now I can assist more people with getting through certain challenges. Had I not experienced domestic violence, then I couldn't talk on that topic. I can only be able to come from an academic point of view, reading about experiences, studying other people. But when you physically go through domestic violence, you have a deeper perception of it. And yes, I can utilize academia as a tool, but I have a deeper connection, which allows me to deeply connect with other survivors in that realm. And I'm not active right now in service in that particular space right now, you know. But it's there. I haven't forgotten. Um, I will serve there, and I will support other places that are serving, sing there. I must get my foundation together, you know, and I know that I am able to have my heart's desires. So yeah, I have big dreams, big visions. I want to serve here. I want to serve there. I want to serve in so many different ways and aspects. Um, Nonetheless, um, my foundation is being rebuilt right now, and to have the opportunity to share in the building of that foundation and have a soul that is very, very, very similar because they also feel that type of pull and connection. I don't know why. I don't know if it's based on experience. I don't know if it's based on, um, I don't know why they want to serve in those spaces and places, you know. Maybe that's just their sole purpose and calling. But to be in alignment, that's what I feel is happening right now. Alignment. Um, when I see and I think about this person, the more I get to know about them, and I hope hopefully it's not. I mean, if it is uncomfortable, sometimes things are uncomfortable, you know. Um, I have shared some of my gifts, shared how things come to me in dreams, shared how things come to me intuitively. So I could put a question out into the universe because I've put questions out to the universe, and this is how I. And here's another thing: how I know, um, like this is a supported union. I dare to say this is my sacred union. This is it. Like I'm in it, sort of, kind of already. Even though my partner may feel a little bit not a little bit, a lot in bondage right now. Their soul and their spirit communicates to them just as fluidly as my soul and my spirit communicates with me and their ancestors. And my motherfucking ancestors are just as fucking strong and powerful. And so they know, you know, but they have to still navigate. And I get that and I trust that. And I'm here, you know. I'm here trusting the leadership. I'm here trusting the divinity within us both. And I'm here. I just like, my wish is just like I just had um, not access to, but tangible, like in my hands, just the stuff that I know I'm accumulating, you know, the wealth that I'm accumulating. I just wish I had it right here, right now. I know it's within me, but I just wish that I was able to sit down and be like, can we all have a conversation? You know what I mean? The individual that is just is what it is. Again, let me speak from my personal experiences. In my personal experience, I was very, very into a person for a good decade. Like a good decade. We never had any sexual interactions. Um, it was just like um, I just felt a strong connection to this person, and they are somebody that um, is into spiritual science, spiritual science practices, different things. They do rituals. They're part of, higher society clubs and things of that sort. And I just thought that um, that was my that was my sacred partner. And because I thought that was my sacred partner, even though my ancestors was like, no, they would clearly, this person would show me clearly all the time, no. We did form a sort of friendship where this person became protective. And so whenever I would be like, recognize, okay, this is not my second partner, let me go and talk over here and have a conversation over here, they would, they would be protective. They became literally like a big brother to me. And even though we don't talk um, on a regular basis, and it's gonna be a little different this year because normally I call them and I might call them. I still might call and be like, okay, happy born day, big bro, leave it like that, you know. Um, yeah, I'm not there no more because I could see clearer. I could see clearly now. The rain is gone. I could see all obstacles out my way. No, seriously though, I can see like they are happy and content with where they are because if they wanted to be further, they would be further. So they are happy, they're content with what they're doing. They like and enjoy their lifestyle. They would consider the suggestions that I have made, but I would have to bound myself and I'm not here for bondage. I'm here for the actual opposite of bondage. And having a sacred union is not bondage. Having a sacred union is two souls that align with each other, their purposes align with each other, and they're coming together. And when they come together, we enhance each other just naturally. It's not, oh, you belong to me, I control you, you mine. No, it's like, I support you, I love you, you're free. That's important to me too. How can I help to make that happen? It's a completely different type of um, it's different. And we see certain couples, right? And I'm gonna use Jigga because Jigga's my nigga. No, he's not. But I'm gonna use Jigga because I feel like Jigga and um, Beyonce have that type of, they have a sacred union. They have a sacred union. Like they support each other, they enhance each other. Yes, they have their challenges. I even feel that Alicia Keys and what's Swiss Beats? Is it Swiss Beats? I think it's Swiss Beats. Alicia Keys and Swiss Beats have that type of thing. It was like she recognized him, he recognized her, and even though there were things that were happening, here's the difference, here's the uniqueness. Even though he had prior contracts, and when I'm saying contracts, I'm gonna just say relations. Um, he, their souls still recognize each other. The contract did not prevent the recognition of each other. And Alicia was in the position to be like, what you need, baby mama? What you need? Okay, baby mama, you need it? I got you, baby mama. And now everybody gets along with each other. And I think that's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing. And um, I would love my sacred union to progress in a similar way. I like if I if I If I could, I would be like, darling, what you need? I don't know whether what you call it's paid off or not. Maybe you took out a second mortgage, whatever. Covered. Kids covered. College covered. Um, what else with their trust funds? So when they graduate, they don't have to struggle looking for a job. They got enough money where they could just rent if they want to rent. They could buy a condo if they want to buy a condo. Like, I, what you want? Shoot, she may want a daggone condo. I always say keep property. Keep property because even if you don't want to physically be there, it could be of service to the family down the line. But like, don't worry about it. Like, do you want a condo? You want smaller space so that you don't gotta maintain. That's a big space to be maintaining and stuff. You want smaller space? Here you go. You want to go on a trip somewhere? You want to relax your mind? You don't want to be doing no 9 to 5? You don't even have to. You've done enough work. You done raised these daggone babies. You done did your very best, even though I know it's a lot. Because when a person has a strong, powerful purpose, it takes a lot. It takes a lot. And it's not something that one person can do because they need a network that's going to support them. But when you are in that sacred partnership with a person, your duties are different. You have duties that nobody else has, you know? And if that's too much, then you got to be honest with yourself about it. You can't, just enjoy the good parts. And then when the heavy shit comes, you're like, oh, the fudge. And then you go to your network and they're giving you advice, but they're giving you advice off of their perspective. They're giving you advice genuinely out of love, but unless they are experiencing similar, and maybe they have, but it's just tricky. People give you advice based on their own perception. So you got to always kind of filter the advice that people give you and kind of dissect it. What's being really said? And really the best place to get advice from is going straight to the source. Going straight to divinity. Divinity will utilize people to give you advice, and if you didn't hear it the first time, you will hear the same thing again through somebody else, and the same thing again through somebody else, and the same thing again through somebody else. And I'm laughing because I am the stubborn person. You got to tell me shit more than once, especially because there's just so many suggestions out there. Like, Divinity got to tell me stuff more than once. I can't believe I didn't talk for 2 whole freaking hours. And this is another reason why I easily see the alignment because, oh, the it's impossible not to see. It really is impossible, you know. So again, I'm grateful. I'm excited, um, and everything is continuously working itself out. My ancestors, they on it, and everything is unfolding. And you know, I want us all to get along with each other. And I know that's a very big statement to say because um, I don't know. I'm gonna go back to Swiss Beats um, situation or family. For what we see it on the surface, because we don't know what's beneath the surface, right? But what we see it on the surface, I'm pretty sure initially, um, his children's mother was not so receptive to Alicia Keys. You know, However, once again, Alicia Keys was financially in the position to say, "Hey, listen, I'm not coming to take from you. I'm not coming to take from your children, but my soul is in alignment with Swiss's soul, and I know that you have created these wonderful beings together, and I am here to support these wonderful beings, and I am here to support you and being the best you can be to these wonderful beings. And me and Swiss are just going to, um, be. So, you know, I know that you are emotional. Um, However, you had to, and I'm just imagining. I don't know if this is the conversation she had with the lady, but you have to feel. You could feel when things are right. You could feel when it's too much. You could feel when it's just like, oh, this is everything that I've always imagined. You could feel that, you know, and mm, they're they're doing it, Love seems to be what is prevailing at this point in time on the planet, and freedom as well. So, with love and freedom, which I dare say are absolutely fruits of the Spirit, and fruits of the Spirit meaning um, exact examples and replications of this divine force, this divine power that some people call God, some people call Allah, some people say Elohim. Like there's so many different ways within our limited human experiences we look to describe this all knowing, all being, infinite, omnipresent, omnipotent force, this energy, so many ways. But we really can't um, put it into words. We can do our very best, but it's really wordless. We're talking about energy that is keeping the planets from bumping into each other, that is rotating this freaking planet that we're on. We don't even feel like we're fucking spinning half the fucking time. That's flowing the rivers and must I go on? Like, have you just taken a moment and just like really look at our one planet and how it functions, how intelligently it functions? What is functioning it? What is changing the seasons? What is rotating the motherfucker? What is keeping the motherfucker suspended literally in space? What is that? Yeah, that is undeniable. That we all have a bit of that inside of us. So when we tap into that within our own self, within our own being, we know exactly what to do, exactly how to do it. And I am just so excited about more and more people tapping into that. I'm excited about being a light that ignites others' flames and have people think and ponder and be like, let me look into this. Like I have the honor of sharing some wisdom with a very studious individual, which as soon as I get out of this broadcast and go to the restroom, I'm going to send that email to this young lady so that she can expand her awareness and start shifting um, things to work out even better in her own personal life, where she doesn't have to um, she doesn't have to be anything but what she wants to be. She can be free. She can be free, and I want us all to be free. Be free to be and live your life in a way that your spirit and your soul feels amazing, and that's where I am right now. And um, I am still incarnated. I still have human emotions and the need to eat, to shit, to be, to breathe. But I recognize when I look at people, I do my very best to see the divinity in them and to ignite that, even if I don't say one word to them, even if we don't have an interaction. But what I'm experiencing is that people are sensing that. My intentions is so people speak to me. I had a lady stop me yesterday. I thought she was going to try to hit me. She was driving a motor scooter, and I was like, oh Lord. But she said, is your name Miss Pat? And I was like, mm-mm. She said, oh, you look just like her. You're so beautiful. I don't even think she was talking about my physical features. I really feel like she was talking about my aura. I felt like that lady that she experienced in a nursing home when she was in a nursing home. I didn't look like that lady. I know I don't look like that lady. And I know that she can hardly see. So she damn well can't be talking about, oh, you look like somebody. Ma'am, ma'am, you can't even see me hardly. You see me, you could feel me, but you can't see the details of me, of my features, for real, for real. I know you can't. But thank you. And thank you for recognizing, because you got that. It's the God in you that recognizes the God in me. So um, it seems like it's going to be a really relaxing Saturday for me. I guess I'll have the opportunity to clean and, you know, um, I want to get up. I am about to get up. I just have to be mindful that I have to stay camera on. But I'm about to get off of it anyway. Yeah, I'm gonna get up comfortably. I ain't gonna get up and be aiming the camera up and all of this other stuff. Thank you for tuning into the SupaTea Podcast Show. A very long, insightful video, but know that freedom is everybody's birthright, and contracts can absolutely be broken, and you can still reclaim your soul, and um, you got freedom if you choose to. And if you are happily progressing within a union, then by all means stay there. But if you are not, then be free. And know that there's always there's infinite possibilities of good that could unfold. I am here for all those that I care about, all those that I care about, whether they consciously know it, they certainly unconsciously know it. And however I could be of assistance, whether it's me being vulnerable, being open, like I have been for the last 2 hours on this public platform, I'm going to follow my soul, and I'm going to trust my intuition, and I'm always available to, I'm just here. I'm here, I'm not going to deplete myself, but I am um, cognitive of the complexities um, that exist. And I don't have the direct answer, but to be true to your divinity. That's the most encouraging, accurate thing that I could say, and offer advice and be an emotional support to. I hear you, I see you, and the best piece of advice I can give you is to connect to your divinity to get the answers that you need in everything that you do. And with that, you'll always win. You'll always go forward. And I encourage that for everybody. If you're tired, you're tired. It's okay. And don't let other people put things in your head and make you stay spaces and places that you have outgrown, or you have grown in a different direction. In this broadcast, I explained how I had a friendship for over 20 years, and then it just kind of evaporated a bit, I still genuinely care about that person. I recognize where they are. Um, they don't necessarily recognize perhaps where I am, but perhaps after they watch that movie, Sinners, they will. Because I've been hearing things about that movie. Oh, yeah, I can't wait to enjoy it. But I already know what it's about. It'll take me as long as it used to figure shit the fuck out. And that is the beauty of wisdom, and that is the beauty of um, growing and expanding. So I'm happy to be on the path I'm on, and I still consider their children to be my nieces and my nephews. I still love them all, and even though we don't interact, and they're on their personal life journeys and trajectories. Auntie Cara already got like a whole notebook of what I'm doing when I'm wealthy, you know, and I know I'm already wealthy. I know it's the manifestation of it. So it would be wonderful if it would just come like that. Because again, I would like be very similar in Alicia Keys' attitude towards Swiss's children's mother. Like I would be very similar. Like, ma'am, hold up, let's. I'm not taking from you. I'm adding to you. Your life is about to be 1,000% better because I'm here, ma'am. Everybody, everybody, everybody. You know, but with that, I'm just gonna say deuces for now. Um, it's interesting times. A lot of things are budding and sprouting, and I'm grateful for it all. So thank you for tuning into the SupaTea Podcast Show. I don't know who, but a few folks that will listen to 2 hours of me yapping about my life, but please share my stand store. Please share my link. You know, if even if you know the art of manifesting and you know you have your own methods, if you listen this long, just go in the description, copy the link, and share the link. Okay, share it with others. All right, I appreciate it, and thank you for tuning into the Super Tea Podcast Show. Peace.